Bismillah ir-rahman ir-rahim. Welcome back to the 5 Before 5 podcast, where I share different ideas about how Islam interacts with other Western ideas, how Muslim teenagers can get the most out of their high school education, and inshallah share college application tips specifically aimed at the Muslim market. For today, today's topic is actually a graduation speech that I gave earlier this week at the Islamic School of Rhode Island. So without further ado, I'm going to read what I wrote for this week. Bismillah ar-rahman ar-rahim. Navigating high school as a Muslim. How to become a beacon of Noor. A graduation speech outlining 5 key strategies for Muslim teenagers to preserve their iman and become irresistibly attractive to top colleges. Earlier this week, I was honored as a keynote speaker at the Islamic School of Rhode Island's 8th grade graduation. During this special occasion, I recounted a pivotal encounter from my own youth, a bus ride that occurred when I was just a few months older than them, that profoundly redirected my path by introducing me to Islam. Finally, I gave 5 specific tips for students on how they can safeguard their iman as they venture outside of the Islamic school bubble. I explained how fully embracing their Islamic identity will make them magnetically attractive, both to their classmates and to colleges. Please enjoy the speech and let me know your thoughts in the comments by hitting the like button. Without further ado, here's the speech. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaykum. It is an enormous privilege and pleasure to speak at the Islamic School of Rhode Island's 8th grade graduation. I want to thank ISRI for inviting me and for the incredible work they do in nurturing the hearts and minds of our future leaders. Brother Muhammad Abdurrahman, Allah yarhamhu, was one of the founders of ISRI, and he was a dear friend and mentor of mine. He had a vision of inspiring unity among the Islamic schools of New England, and it is therefore appropriate that I, as a long-term teacher and administrator at Noor Academy in Mansfield, was chosen to deliver today's remarks. Standing here today brings back memories of my own 8th grade graduation, a time when I had no idea how dramatically my life was about to change. Little did I know, a single bus ride just 3 months later would change the trajectory of my life forever. But more on that story in a moment. To be honest, I don't remember my 8th grade graduation all that well. I was probably busy daydreaming about epic sleepovers and beating my top score in Donkey Kong. A few months later, I would begin at St. Mark's School in Southborough, a boarding school that my father, grandfather, and an assorted array of cousins had attended before me. Who could have expected that within 18 months of arriving at this Christian school, that I would embrace Islam and change the trajectory of my life forever? How did this happen? How did a boy whose ancestors came over on the Mayflower end up accepting a new faith at the age of 15? I'll tell you in one word: da'wah. An unlikely friendship. When I arrived at St. Mark's, there was only a single Muslim in my class. His name was Nabil, and he was different than anyone I had ever met. I first got to know Nabil on a bus ride on one of the first days of school back in my freshman year in 1992. He looked different than the rest of us. He was Indian, weighed about 220 pounds, and had the awkward beginnings of a beard with wispy hairs across his face. There was a lot about him that stuck out. At night, when we would be brushing our teeth with traditional toothbrushes, Nabil would be using a stick that he explained was a miswak, a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. He would carry a lota with him everywhere he went, eventually making us question how we could have ever thought toilet paper was sufficient. He completed a strange ritual every night before bed, running water up and down his forearms, performing an aggressive farmer's blow, and then putting his feet in the sink. Our initial inclination was to make fun of him, but he was so charismatic that insults bounced off of him like Teflon. Nabil would then return to his room, leave his door slightly open, and call the adhan. He had heard a hadith that even if you're a shepherd alone on a mountain pass, you should still call the adhan out loud, as everyone and everything will bear witness on the day of judgment. And here is the text of that hadith. I see that you like sheep and the wilderness. So whenever you are with your sheep or in the wilderness and you call the adhan for the prayer, raise your voice, for there is not a thing that hears the voice of the mu'adhin, neither jinn or human, nor any other thing, except that it will bear witness for him on the day of judgment. Abu Sa'id added, I heard this from Allah's Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rawahu Bukhari. As you can imagine, all of these strange rituals made us curious, and we began to ask Nabil what they were all about. He explained that he was Muslim, that he believed in the same God mentioned in the Torah and the Bible. He said that each of the prophets from Adam to Moses to Abraham and Jesus were bringing the same message, that there was only one God. Truth is a continuum, he said, and Islam was the updated operating system brought for all of humanity by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the final prophet of Allah. A single sentence that changed everything. I'll never forget when my heart really changed, and I became convinced that Islam was the truth. We were in my friend Matthew's room, and out of the blue Nabil asked us, boys, do you want to hear the most valuable sentence in the world that is weightier than the heavens and the earth? We'd never heard a question like this before, so naturally we were extremely curious. He then said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God but God, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger. When he said the kalima, an electric current coursed through my body. My hairs stood on end, and tears welled up in my eyes. I didn't embrace Islam at that moment, but the seed had been planted. Within 9 months, 3 of us, including Matthew, had become Muslim. His name is Noor, and he remains one of my closest friends to this day. So what is the purpose of relating this story to you today? Nabil was 14 years old when I first met him. That bus ride happened in September, just 3 months after my 8th grade graduation. You are exactly the same age as Nabil, and you have the opportunity to make just as profound a difference on the world if you make the same intention. Just like Nabil, many of you are about to leave the Muslim bubble and the cocoon of ISRI and join a high school where you may be one of the only Muslims on campus. From what Sister Nafisa told me, your class is one of the most impressive in the history of ISRI. She told me that you are an incredibly positive and supportive group who love one another for the sake of Allah. She even mentioned that you get together to discuss hadith in your free time. MashaAllah, that's incredible. I get the sense that there are many Nabils on this stage who are ready to go out and spread khair and barakah in the world. It wouldn't be a graduation speech if I didn't share a few pieces of advice. For today, I want to give you 5 nuggets of hard-earned wisdom that might have kept me awake at my 8th grade graduation. Each focuses on how you can protect your iman and get the most out of your high school experience. So here goes. Number 1, your I can is more important than your IQ. Some of you may be good students, some great, and some may struggle in school. In the long run, none of that really matters. The most successful of you is not going to be the one with the highest GPA, but rather the one who believes in themselves the most. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. And the great Yoda said, or do not, there is no try. Do or do not, there is no try. IQ is a silly measure of intelligence that has nothing to do with success in this world or the next. Your I can attitude, on the other hand, is the key to achieving great things. Set audacious, big goals that scare you, and then have the absolute conviction and yaqeen that you can achieve them. Set a 12-month goal for this summer, and then figure out how to accomplish it this summer. Why? Because you have something even more important than I can. You have iman. The reality is that we cannot do anything, but Allah can do everything. And He can do it through us if we set the right intention. As I always teach my students, believe in Allah, believe in yourself, and you can move mountains. Number 2, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Having the right sohbah or friend group is one of the most important ingredients to success in dunya and akhirah. You have been blessed to have each other and the amazingly supportive community of ISRI for many years. You must preserve these relationships and forge new ones. Do not restrict yourself to Muslim friends only. If Nabil had done that, where would I be today? Find a group of friends that pushes you to be the best version of yourself, and cut out those people who are constantly negative and push you away from Allah or your dreams. In addition to the suhbah of friends, fall in love with the suhbah of books and podcasts. These days you are one trip to the library or one click of the mouse from interacting with the very best ideas of some of humanity's greatest minds. The vast majority of high school students never pick up a book or listen to one on Audible unless they have to. Dare to be different. Number 3, success is the result of happiness, not its cause. Society has things backwards. We are taught from a young age that the point of working hard in high school is to get into a good college. Doing well in college leads to a good job leads to a big house with a white picket fence, a beautiful spouse, and 2.5 perfect children. If and when you finally achieve this American dream of success, then, and only then, will you be happy. Nonsense. In his book, The Happiness Advantage, Harvard Business School professor Sean Achor explains that it's the exact opposite. Happiness is the cause of success, not the result. When you do something you love, it doesn't feel like work. You happily put in the thousands of hours necessary to achieve mastery of your profession and become an expert. Take me, for example. I love what I do. I run a business called 5 Before College that helps Muslim teenagers like you get into their dream colleges. I help them clarify their mission in life when they are still in high school so that they become extraordinary human beings infused with the Noor of Islam who unlock big scholarships and gain admission into the country's top colleges. I love what I do, and I think I'm pretty good at it, and society therefore rewards me. I have built a 6-figure business in less than a year and have ambitions to grow it into a 7-figure business over the next couple of years. You need to set similarly ambitious goals and then work on them starting today. The fringe benefit is that this project you need to set an ambitious goal, a passion project that you can work on this summer that completely aligns with your qibla. The fringe benefit is that this project can become the centerpiece of your college application, the X factor that helps you stand out and open up slots at top universities. Number 4, stop chasing after college and have them come chasing after you. Many students and families put top colleges on pedestals and bend over backwards to please them. The single most frequent question I get is, will this activity look good for college? This is the exact wrong question to ask. Instead, ask, does this activity look good for me? Does it light me up and make me feel alive? Do I lose track of time when I'm involved in it? If the answer is yes, then by all means go for it. Great college activities can literally be anything. Playing with Legos, drone photography, urban gardening, 3D printing, an AI-powered Islam app, robotics, cooking, anything. But the best way to have colleges come chasing after you is to practice pure, authentic Islam. Bring as many sunnahs into your life as possible. They have a magnetic attraction. Use a miswak. Proudly wear your hijab. Throw on a thobe or a abaya from time to time. Don't be afraid to put your foot in the sink, or to eat with your hands, or to pray in public. When you fully come on to the deen and adopt the character of our beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will be an extraordinary human being that colleges will bend over backwards to get on their campuses. And 5th and finally, the best defense for your iman is a strong offense. The reason I am standing before you today is that Nabil arrived in a foreign environment of a Christian boarding school with his iman infused with the fikr of da'wah. He knew that Islam was the truth, and he did not want to selfishly keep it for himself. The summer after his 8th grade year, which begins for you after this ceremony, he spent 40 days fi sabilillah with the Tablighi Jamaat. For 40 nights he slept on masjid floors and called out to Allah in the last third of the night. And for 40 days he spoke to the people about the greatness of Allah. This is why he arrived at St. Mark's fully alive and bursting with iman. The only way to avoid all the fitna and fasad of a high school campus, the drugs, the alcohol, the temptation of the opposite gender, is to adopt the niyyah of dawah. Fully embrace your Islamic identity and, through your actions, not your words, show people the beauty of Islam. If you do this, instead of being shaped by your environment, you will shape it. Just like Nabil changed my life with his unwavering faith and charisma, you have the power to be the Nabil in someone else's story. As you step out of the ISRI cocoon and into the world, remember, your I can is more powerful than any obstacle. Your friends will shape your identity, so choose wisely and gather a tribe of mentors that lifts you higher. Your happiness will drive your success, so follow your passions and embrace a positive mindset. And your faith will light your path, so protect it by vowing to never miss a single salah and adopting as many sunnahs as you can. Embrace these truths and watch as the dunya bends to your will. Go out, inspire, and let your light shine briefly. Jazakallahu khair for this opportunity, and may Allah allow these few words to help guide me and the rest of the ummah towards embracing our Islamic identity and spreading khair to the east and to the west. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for listening to this week's 5 Before 5. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments. Please hit that like button. And there's also a way to get onto my email list if you want to be better informed about college admissions than 99% of Muslim families. You can download our free ebook at the end of the written version of this Substack newsletter. Jazakallah khair, and until next time, Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullah.